Hi everybody. Just recently, to my newsletter subscribers, I sent out a recipe, a family favorite recipe for coffee rolls or cinnamon rolls. And I wanted to share it with you because I had so many emails thanking me for it, and I thought, well, I'm going to share it on YouTube too. So normally you know me for quilting, Quilts of Illusion, but we're going to do a little cooking with Karen today. This recipe is one my mother had. She got it back in the 1940s. She shared it with all of us. We've used it ever since. So I wanted to show you the ingredients and a few little tips about it. If you bake and you make cinnamon rolls or bread, it will be familiar to you, but maybe you've never baked before. So I want to show you some little tricks. And I'm going to write the recipe down. The ingredients will be below in the information of the video. So let's take a look at some of the ingredients. All right, so let's take a look at the ingredients. We're going to use eggs. We're going to use butter later on, and I'm using unsalted here. I had some questions about shortening. Is the shortening butter? No, the shortening in the recipe is actually Crisco. And years ago we would buy it in the tin, but now they have it very conveniently measured out in these sticks. So this is the shortening you'll use. We're going to need just some salt, sugar, all-purpose flour, cinnamon. This is something else, white vanilla or clear vanilla. That way it doesn't discolor the frosting later. And we've got some confectioner sugar. Oh, and very important, we're going to be using yeast, but you're going to want to use the dry, active yeast, not instant. Now again, this is an old recipe, so we're going to use kind of an old-fashioned ingredient. And then you'll want to have measuring cups, both a liquid one and also dry, and a couple of measuring spoons. So let's get going. I want to show you how to do the yeast before we get working on the rest of the ingredients. We're going to use half a cup of lukewarm water. And how you can tell if it's lukewarm, I'm just running the water. And you want the water neither warm, or hot, or cold. So I'm just testing it, and once it just feels a little warm, then I'm going to take my measure, and I need half a cup. But you can use a fancy thermometer if you want, but you just want lukewarm water that just feels like nothing. So it's going to be the temperature of your skin, basically. Again, dry yeast, but make sure of the expiration date. And what we're going to do is we're just going to sprinkle it over the water. So always check your expiration date on it. And let me get a little stir. And we're just going to let that work, or proof. Just going to let the yeast start growing. All right, I'm going to set that aside, and what we're going to do first is we've got our sugar, just white sugar, 3/4 of a cup, and we've got our salt, a tablespoon of salt, and we've melted the shortening. So let me get that, and we're going to pour that in. Here's our melted shortening. And I'm just going to let that work for a minute. Just going to give this a little stir. I've got it in my mixing bowl. Now, I like to also do it in my big green Tupperware bowl with a hand mixer, but today I'm just going to use a little bit more powerful mixer. But I have made this recipe plenty of times with my big green bowl. So what we're going to do next is we're going to add a cup of boiling water. All right, I've got my boiling water. I'm just going to add that in. And we're going to let this mix until the sugar's dissolved, and then we're going to add a cup of ice cold water. So I'm just going to let this mix for a minute, then we'll add the cold water. All right, I'm just going to give this a stir. I'm checking to make sure that the sugar is all dissolved. Looks like it is. So I've got my ice cold water here. I'm going to just dump that in. And give that a little mix. Then we'll go on to the next step. All right, our shortening and water is all mixed together and it needs to cool. So I'm just going to let it cool a minute and I'm going to get my eggs ready. And another little tip I can tell you, you need to beat these eggs. So I've got one in here in a bowl, but what I don't do is crack the other one and put it in with the first one, because if this egg is bad, now I've just ruined both of them. So I always like to use a separate bowl, check it. Now I know it dirties up more bowls, but that way I can make sure they're good. And I'm just gonna beat these up while I'm waiting on this mixture to be cool, and I'm just checking it. It's still warm, and we don't want it too warm because if it is, it's gonna kill the yeast. So I've got this ready. There's my eggs. What we're gonna do is we're gonna add the eggs and the yeast into here. So we'll wait a few more minutes for it to cool, and then we'll do that. I've just checked it, and our mixture is cool. We also don't want the eggs to scramble. That's why you don't put it in the hot liquid. So what we're going to do now is just add the beaten eggs and the yeast into our mixture here. There's the eggs. Now the yeast, you can see it's starting to bubble up a little bit. So we gave it a little time to work. So now we're going to put it in here, and the sugar that's in there is going to feed it. Bring the bowl up and just mix them together. All right, so here's the mixture with the eggs and the yeast, and I'm going to add my flour. We're going to use a lot. We're going to use 8 cups, so I've got 7 cups here. I want to show you how you're going to measure your flour. You don't want to put that much in because that's more than a cup. So there we go. So now we've got 8 cups of flour here, and I'm going to slowly add them into the bowl, mixing as I go along. So I'll get going on that and be back in just a second. I'm just going to scrape this bowl. Now I've added all the flour. I'm going to blend it a little bit more, but I'm just going to scrape everything, make sure it's going to be well incorporated. This is all mixed up. I'm going to switch it to this bigger bowl so it can rise. So I'll do that and be right back. I've got this in the bowl, and I did grease the bowl a little bit. And I'm going to cover it and let it rise for an hour and a half. I didn't need it right now because we'll be working it into another shape, and that'll get some kneading. So I'm just going to let this rest, covered. You can cover it with a clean cloth, or you can cover it with plastic wrap. This is a pretty big bowl, so I'm going to cover it with this, put it in a warm place, draft free, let it rise. If I see it getting close to this cloth, I'll take the cloth off and put plastic wrap over it because I don't want it to touch the cloth, but that's just keeping it so the drafts are out of the way. So we're going to let it rise for an hour and a half. It's been an hour and a half. Let's take this off. I put some plastic wrap there just to check it, and you can see it's risen pretty well. I've gone ahead and washed my hands before I've done going to do this, but all I'm going to do is punch it down, and it's just what it means. Just punch it a couple of times. me get another one. And now I'm going to cover it back up and I'm going to let it rise again. I'm not going to let it rise for an hour and a half. I'm probably going to check it in about 45 minutes and see, but that's our next step. All right, I've done the second rise and it was about 45 minutes. I just want to let it double in size again. So here it is. You can see where I punched it down, but it's risen back up. So now what we're going to do is put it on a floured surface. You can use your counter, and I've washed the counter off before I've done this. I'm going to use these Silpat sheets, but you could just do it right on a clean counter, and I've put a little bit of flour down. I have some flour here, so if I need it, it's handy. I've put flour on the rolling pins, and I've washed my hands so they're nice and clean. So now I'm just going to dump it out. And someone asked me about kneading. I don't really need this because I'm going to knead it right now as I'm getting it all rolled out. So I'm just going to flour my hand and kind of pat it. These Silpat sheets help too because you can get it kind of the size you need. So I will be back once we roll it out. Get it into shape. From time to time, I might need to put a little bit more flour on my rolling pin or my hands. All right, pretty happy with how this looks. It's pretty uniform, and it's maybe half an inch thick. So I'm just kind of making sure it's not too thick. Now what we're going to do is take butter, and this has been sitting out so it could soften. And this is also where I have some paper towel handy because I'm going to need to clean my hands off. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the butter and we're going to just smear it all over the surface. So I just kind of start it, and I'll be back once I get it all spread out. All right, I've got the butter spread uniformly, and of course I've got it all over my hands. So I'm going to wipe them, and now I'm going to get the sugar and the cinnamon. This is my flour. Get this out of the way because we're not going to use that. We're going to use sugar. And how much? Just depends on how much you want to put. I like to cover the whole surface quite liberally. If there's any areas that maybe need a little more, you can put more on. You can kind of spread it around. Now we're going to do the cinnamon. Right. Now we are going to roll it up. You can kind of mash it around as you need to. All right, this is why we clean the counter ahead of time, because it's kind of outgrown the Silpat. But now we're going to cut it, put it in our pans. I'm going to start with these. I'm going to be giving these as gifts, so I'm doing them in disposable pans, or if you want to do smaller ones and you want to put them in your freezer, these are perfect. I'm taking that leftover shortening that we had and just covering the pan a little bit so it won't stick. You need to put your hands in there, you can. All right, now we're gonna cut these, and remember, they're gonna rise some more, and they're pretty big, so I might make some smaller ones and some bigger ones. I'm starting about 2 inches, I guess. And these are gonna rise, so don't crowd them. You can use a knife. Some people use dental floss. So I'm going to get these in the pans, and then I'll see you in a minute. All right, we've got them. I've made some thinner ones, and I've made some thicker ones. Thicker ones I put fewer in the pan. I'm going to put them back in a warm place and let them rise, and I will check them in about 30 to 40 minutes and see how they're doing. And while they're rising, at some point during that time, I will preheat my oven to 350, because once they're risen up a little more, probably about doubled in size, we will bake them. It's been about 40 minutes, and I have let these do another rise. You can see the 4 really expanded. The 6 did too, but if you want to just do 4 to a pan, they'll get bigger. So what I'm going to do now is bake them. I forgot to mention, if you want to freeze these, I would freeze them before we did a second rise. That way you can pull them out of the freezer, let them thaw, and let them rise to this. You can also freeze them when they're all done. But what we're going to do right now is I have the oven preheated to 350, and I'm going to bake these for about 20 minutes. Cinnamon rolls are in the oven. We're going to make the glaze, and I've given you in the recipe amounts, but I usually do it by eye. So I've put about half of the bag powdered sugar in my bowl, put just a little bit of the white vanilla. If you use the dark vanilla or regular vanilla, it's going to turn the glaze a little gray. So I like to use the clear white vanilla. So what I've done is I've already put a couple of spoonfuls of water into the powdered sugar. And I'm just going to keep mixing until it looks like the right consistency. You notice I didn't put the whole bag in, because if I need more water, I can add it. If I need more sugar, I can add it. So that actually looks like a pretty good consistency. I'm just going to add just a touch more. And I'm going to keep building this until I get enough to frost my cinnamon rolls. All right, I've got my pan and some of the glaze, and I like to put it on while the cinnamon rolls are hot. So it gets melty, it gets right in the crevices. And once you've put the glaze on, then they're done. Or if you want to freeze them at this point, you can let them cool, and then I would wrap them in plastic wrap and then aluminum foil and put them in your freezer. And to use them when they're frozen like this, you just bring them out, warm them up. I actually let them thaw, and then if you want to warm them up, you can put them in a warm oven, or you can put them on a plate and microwave it for just a second. This is why I don't make too much of the glaze at once, because I'm not sure how much I need. So if you like a lot, you can put it on. If you like less, put less. But there we have my mother's recipe for coffee rolls or cinnamon rolls, ready to give as a gift, eat ourselves, or put in the freezer. So I hope you have enjoyed this little recipe, and let me know how yours turn out.